إن الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم آمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله رسول الله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Before I begin my khutbah, I just want to say Jazakallah khairan to Darul Nur, Brother Rafi, for organizing this. It's very difficult for us in our positions to try and get platforms like this. So I very much want to give my appreciation. My name is Arsan Hidayat, part of the community here in Virginia. I will make a small correction. As you can see from my accent, I'm not yet Uyghur American. I'm an Uyghur Australian. But inshallah, if Allah gives us life, we may too become citizens of this country. Yeah. Overall, we know the plight, we know the genocide that's happening to our brothers and sisters in Palestine and in Gaza. And a major difference is that our brothers and sisters there have the, unfortunately, I have to use the word access or luxury that they're able to document their genocide on these phones, and that's how we're able to know about this. But would you know, in Chinese occupied East Turkestan, access to this is non-existent. Yes, our country is called East Turkestan, not Xinjiang, as you may have heard. This would be the equivalent if I asked you, my brother, do you know where Palestine is? And you said, Palestine is in Israel. How does that sentence make you feel? So even just the name of the country, we don't even know where it is, how we're supposed to help our brothers and sisters. In occupied East Turkestan, has been going through an intensification of repression by the Chinese regime and effectively state-sponsored genocide, which this government, your government, the US government, recognizes as genocide. It is home to the largest mass detention of a people since the Holocaust. Before us is the erasure of an entire culture, millions in concentration camps, at least 16,000 mosques that we know of have been destroyed, and another 7,000 or 8,000 mosques are being used or have been converted into bars and pubs, cafes, and in some cases used to take care of animals, a shelter for animals. But you do see some mosques, you do see on Chinese television Uyghurs praying. There are some mosques still open for propaganda reasons. And so if you and I were to go there, or some investigators were to go there, they take them to a staged mosque specifically for touristic or propaganda purposes. All things in Islam are criminalized. From the hijab to the beard to prayer, Muslims are being rounded up in concentration camps. Muslim women are forced to marry atheist Han Chinese men. Organs are forcefully harvested and historic mosques destroyed. Now, I just don't want this to be a situation of me telling you this is what's happening to our people. It should still be for us living in what we ascribe to be a free world, how blessed we are to be able to carry on living as Muslims without this repression. I'm seeing people from all over the world. People greeted me with Assalamu alaikum. I see people with lihya. I see people with hijab. You lot would be perfect candidates for such a concentration camp, simply being the way that you are. No prayer. Salah is forbidden. What we are doing right here is forbidden. It's haram. Imagine I use this sentence, fasting is haram. And like, brother, what? Oh, sorry, I didn't finish my sentence. In East Turkestan. Salah is haram in East Turkestan. Saying Assalamu alaikum is haram in East Turkestan. So I want you to think about it, how blessed you are. Allah has put you in a position to be able to hear this message. There's not many hatibs that talk about this. You may get a notification here and there, but to be able to hear it in detail, you are very blessed. So I urge everyone to do something about it, inshallah, towards the end. No weddings. You are very blessed. We are very blessed. We can choose our spouses. Yes, sometimes our parents, I wouldn't say force, but they will go, there's this brother out there or there's this sister out there. They're very good. And then you guys have, with your own permission, you want to get married. But we are in a situation where China wants to assimilate the Uyghurs to such an extent that they are forcing them to marry Han Chinese men, atheist men. Obviously, no Eid celebrations, no Hajj. Our language. A lot of you, I can tell you are foreigners. You at least know one other language than English. Imagine the United States government said, there are some people that say it, but it hasn't been enacted yet. English, if you speak any other language, we'll throw you to jail. Imagine this. So I want you to not just hear it, but I want you to try and think about, if I was in this situation. No Muhammad, no Aisha, no Fatima. Meaning, these names that I've just mentioned and other similar names like this, if you have a name like this is illegal. They make you change your name. In fact, there are Muhammads, there are Fatimas, there are Aishas being aborted every day. Did you know that for what China refers to minority groups, they were only ever allowed to have 2 children? What do you think happens to the 3rd child? Regardless of where they're born, or like what term they're born, 7 months, 8 months, 9 months, they get aborted. Population control. False guess. Spyware. And you might be thinking, brother, why can't they just practice Islam at home secretly? Did you know that there are communist officials that live with families to check up on them 15 days of the month? They record everything. They have special spyware that you can use. And remember, when I'm saying all these things, make sure you go and reference it, because I can only fill in so much information in the time that I've been given. Verify this for yourself. And at times what would happen is when we say these things, and you would hear, this is just US propaganda. The US has something against China. Yeah, of course the US has something against China. But me as your brother, I'm leading a khutbah and I'm testifying to you as your Muslim brother and as Muslim sisters out there that this is happening to my people. And yet sometimes we have Muslims, but look at China. They support Palestine. Yeah, they should be. And this government shouldn't be complicit in the genocide over there either. But regardless of that, what do our values and what do our teachings say? We need to be consistent. What does the Quran and Sunnah say? Vehicle tracking. Did you know there are cameras? Sometimes we think about cameras and, it's too much surveillance happening in our own country. The cameras can pick up your psychological state. If you're walking out and one day you're just suddenly sad or extra angry, the camera picks that up and you are interrogated by the Chinese authorities as to, what happened to your mood? Why has that changed? Could you live like this? Then why should they? Or why should we? In the United States, you sort of witnessed something 20 years ago similar. Calling Muslims terrorists. We are labeled as terrorists. But we say to our missing family members, right, even if they are what they label to be as terrorists, how come we can't even call them? We can't even reach out to them. These concentration camps? The story is that Uyghurs are peasants, they're uneducated, and therefore they need to be educated of the law so that they can be stand-up citizens. But the people going into the camps are university rectors, presidents, lawyers, footballers, businessmen, imams, people of the society. from all walks of life, millionaires, people that have even worked for the Chinese Communist government 20, 30, 40 years. And the only reason why they're going into these camps is because they're Uyghur and they are Muslim. I have a very short time, so in the second half of my khutbah, I will explain what everyone can do, inshallah. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم ولجميع المسلمين فاستغفروا إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. إن الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد. As Brother Rafi mentioned before, we have built, or we are very close. We've already purchased a place. Exactly, it's in Chantilly, Fairfax, Chantilly, neighboring neighborhoods. And we are a couple of $100,000 short. Exactly, we've purchased a place for $1,050,000, and with other legal costs and everything, it brings us to $1,100,000, and we are about the $800,000 mark, and we need to get this done by September 1. Now, as I mentioned, what was the figure that I gave of the amount of mosques destroyed? Does anyone remember? You can't say it, but 16,000 mosques. And here, you brothers and sisters, in Virginia, in this DMV, Northern Virginia area, we have the largest population of Uyghurs. We could have been anywhere else in the United States. And we've been fundraising for the last 2 years. And I could have been anywhere else. And yet, in the last few weeks before we are going to settle on this place, I'm here. So this is not just an opportunity for me, but it's more of an opportunity for you to get us across the line. I know that this mosque in itself is being expanded, and every week I'm sure the Khatib is giving you the ayat and the hadith of how important it is to build a masjid on earth, and Allah will reward you with something similar in paradise. I don't need to go through all this. I'm sure you've already memorized this. But on top of this, this will send a clear message. My message to you is, do you want to send a clear message to the Chinese regime that what's happening to your Uyghur brothers and sisters is okay? We want to send that tangible message. They've destroyed 16,000 that we know of, perhaps more. They've converted the rest of the masajid into bars, pubs, clubs, and cafes. And they're using some for propaganda reasons. Isn't it time, or isn't it tangible enough to say, you know what, I'm going to donate at least this much, whatever that amount is, to send a clear message to the Chinese regime? This is a very symbolic message here, masjid here. It's not just for Uyghurs, obviously it's for everyone, but for a place to congregate and a symbol and a message to say, no, you cannot destroy our masjids. We can't build 16,000 mosques. I'm not even sure if there's 16,000 mosques in all of the United States. But we will build one Uyghur mosque to send a message to the Chinese regime that this is not on. So I urge everyone. I know we are going through hard economic times, but for the Uyghurs, we're living right here. We could have been anywhere else. In the last 2 weeks, what did I say? September 1, we need to get this money by. I could have been anywhere else, and I'm reaching out to you guys. So with that, I want to say one more thing. Make sure, besides this, there are other things that you can do. A lot of people say, what else can I do? Think about your own workplace, your own education, what your skills are. Even when I'm mentioning these things, you're thinking, you know what? With my skill set, I can do this. You may be in IT. You may want to build an app that looks into Uyghur forced labor goods. Did you know the United States, with the pushing of our organization Justice for All, passed a legislation in 2021 that forbids Uyghur forced labor goods coming into US shores? But not everyone else is aware of this. You may be in a situation where you can develop an app where people can, when they're about to purchase something, that it says, hold on, this is tainted with Uyghur forced labor goods. Because in these camps, it's not just they're being slaughtered. You know, China uses them economically. And if we are able to boycott these goods, then they won't find a need to open up these camps and keep them open. So this is another thing you can do. Reach out to your local representatives as well. Reach out to other Uyghur brothers and other Muslim brothers and sisters. You may be part of another masjid. Give us a platform so that we can give this presentation again. And we may organize like a halaqa night after Maghrib, between Isha or after Isha. So there are many things that we can do. And I urge you to donate generously. And also, please make dua for your brothers and sisters in Chinese occupied East Turkestan. Because would you believe, wallahi, would you believe, because of how sensitive this is, that when we go to some masajid, they go, oh brother, we can't mention this situation because it's China. Because in our country, China is doing this for us, China is doing that for us. And if we do this, we may get ridiculed. This is happening. I'm just like, subhanAllah. So even just, it may be such a simple thing for Darul Noor to give us a platform like this. Wallahi, may Allah reward you, because what you guys are doing is so brave. Ibadallah, ittaqullah. Inna Allah ya'muru bil إن الله وملائكته يصلوا على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم اغفر لي والمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. Ya Allah, please free the people of East Turkestan. Ya Allah, please free the people of Palestine. Ya Allah, wherever there are Muslims suffering, please free them from their oppression, from their genocide. Ya Allah, everyone who is raising their hands saying Ameen, please make whatever affairs they have easy. Please, if they have any loved ones who are sick or ill, please give them ease and that they may get shifa as soon as possible. Ya Allah, for any of our relatives here who have passed on, please give them the highest levels of Jannah. Ya Allah, please give victory to the Muslims. Ibadallah, ittaqullah. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان إيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون فاذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم واشكروا على نعمه وآلائه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون وأقيموا الصلاة